Welcome back to Retro Podcast and happy Halloween, even though it is not Halloween, but it is almost Halloween. We have special guest Tim Bevins here today talking about his new book. Now, Tim, we actually go very far back. We went to college together at Columbus College of Art and Design. And
Mhm.
tell me about your new book that you've just finished.
So the book I started in school, in the same class we had in capstone when we were both working on our wonderful capstone projects, and it evolved into something so much more. Um, it's now a sci-fi book, and it's 26 pages, so it's not super large, but it's large enough for a light reading. Um, and I focus a lot on the environments and creatures of this alien world that I'm working on. And it's been an interesting journey. I'd say the hardest part so far is getting it printed. That there's a lot of back and forth that happens there for sure. You know, working with a different somebody else other than yourself, it always adds a little complications to the mix. So I've already printed, I've had a first print run and I sold that out pretty quickly. But the second print run is taking a little bit longer to actually print right now, due to complications.
For printing wise, what company or people did you reach out to have it printed?
It's a local company here in Columbus. They're called Lone Crow. Loan like a loan, not like here's a student loan. That always confused me when I typed it in on Google. I had no idea what I was typing. But I heard about them through a CCAD alum from an art show I did in the summer. And all in all, I do like working with the company. They're
Nice.
it's just a couple, it's just two people. So it's a very small company, that's for sure.
And the
But
company is called Logro, correct?
yep.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm
Currently,
actually writing a book at the moment called Night at North Pole and hoping to put it out next year.
oh,
So I've been looking at places to get it printed as well.
okay, yeah. Their rates are pretty good, and they're it's just they're good to talk to because again, it's you're talking directly to the people who are printing it. It's not like a big corporation where you don't know who you're talking to, really, what's going on. That's why I chose them. Just I can go in there with them while they're printing it and just kind of hang out and draw. Their whole setup inside is actually pretty cool. They got a lot of art everywhere, and they sell comics inside and stuff. Because they print a lot of people's comics around here. Um, like CXC just passed, and they were super busy for that place.
Jeez.
Yeah, Cartoons Crossroad. If the viewers don't know what I'm talking about, it's a little comic book type of thing that happens in downtown Columbus.
Mhm.
What, once a year, I think. I'm not familiar with how many times a year. I just know it does happen.
Now, with this book, it is available on your website, correct?
Yes, sir. Creaturesbytim.com.
Got it. And will you be doing any booths? Like, will you be going to Comic Cons or conventions to start a booth and sell it at the booth, or do you still prefer to have it online, or you think about doing it both in person and online?
I think both in person and online are kind of good because when I want to go play with my son, I have the opportunity of making some money while I'm playing with my 2-year-old son. While he's throwing my hat in the garbage or trying to flush my phone in the toilet. Um, but I do have two shows coming up this year. The CCAD show, December 2nd on CCAD's campus. And then I am in Crafting Outlaws December 3rd,
Mhm.
so the next day. And that is taking place at the Art Museum.
Nice.
Yeah, it's I attended the show, I think it was last year or the year before, and I was like a booth assistant. I sold somebody else's work. Um, and they paid me to like sell their their work and run their table. And it was a good show. They took care of us, and people were really excited about, just talking to artists and stuff. I'll tell you what, AI was a big topic when I was there. People were, believe it or not, people were actually complaining about it, like non-artist people, and I loved it. It was nice to hear.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that was nice to hear. Go ahead, jump
Okay.
in.
Uh, Speaking of AI, that's become a big problem this year. Now, what are your thoughts on AI? Do you like some of it? Do you dislike it? Or like what are your thoughts on AI?
I feel like if you say you like it at this point, you're going to get attacked, which I don't really like it anyways. So there's that. Um, However, there's some interesting things. So as of right now, according to our government, the United States, it cannot be copyrighted. They passed that law, I think it was last year, actually. And they said since the computer is making the art, it's like open source and it's free. So that means like Disney will not be at least using those AIs. They'll probably develop their own. And they've already have used AI at this. They used it. I forget what movie it was. Maybe but the whole intro to the movie was AI generated.
Hmm.
It was a newer movie. It was the talk of the campus. If I had my computer on right now, I would search it up, but I don't. But back to that. So like that's kind of a W for us right now is that it can't be copyrighted. So companies who don't develop their own AI program won't like allow you to use AI because they need to own the rights to their characters so they can make little toys for little boys to play with and throw in the toilet like my son. Um, but beside all that legality and stuff like that, I'm kind of scared mainly because I think a lot of those entry level jobs for artists or those entry level commissions are probably going to go away. Like if you're working with a band, a local band, right? So maybe only played a couple shows, but they want some album art. They might just go to a Mid Journey or a Dolly and generate an album art because it's cheaper, quicker, simpler, and it's good enough. Um, but I don't think it's going to take some of the larger things away. Like concept art, I don't think is going to go away. It's just going to evolve. Comic art, there's no way it's going to replace comic art because, like in AI, it can't draw. If, viewers, if you think the AI is drawing this stuff, you're being lied to. It's just pulling all these images and making it. It has no idea what it's actually doing,
Mhm.
which that is an upper hand that we have. We're drawing, we're actually doing it. But I do think it could. I, I do think there is a world where we're all kind of using it to a degree. Um, I guess I'm plugging a giant YouTube artist here, but the box office artist just did a video not too long ago where he used all these AI images of Spider-Man in this like mechanized steampunky type of suit. And he just pulled all these together and used them as reference
Mhm.
to do his own drawing. Um, which I think that is an interesting thing because it can generate some really good reference for us.
Mhm.
There's that. But I still think we're just in a scary time where it's like we're fearing the technology. We're just wondering how the world is going to change because of this. And the only thing we can compare it to is like when photography came onto the scene. That was the birth of abstract art, right? That's when people was like, okay, no longer doing landscapes. Let's just do color on the canvas. Then digital art, that changed the game as well. And I'm not really saying AI is the same, but that's all we have it to compare to. You know,
Mhm.
there's never been something like this before. Because with digital art, you're still drawing.
Oh
You
yeah,
have to make the decisions. If you don't have any skill, you're not going to make something amazing, right?
very true. Very true.
Um, but with AI, it's like it can get so many styles,
Mhm.
and all you have to do is type in a prompt, which does have its own skill curve. But from what I understand, prompting is much easier to learn than drawing. Right? It takes us years and years to learn drawing,
Oh yeah.
and what, maybe a week to really learn prompting.
Mhm.
But that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on AI, and I mean for reference material, it is helpful, but it's also scary because it can replace artists, yes. It's also scary because like nowadays with AI technology, when it comes to video, it's hard to tell if it's a real person or if it's not actually them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also scary because I mean, first there was the writer's strike, which that's ended finally, and now there's the actor's strike that's still going. So one of my jobs that I work for, it's put an effect on my job because, well, my other job it hasn't because it has nothing to do with Hollywood entertainment. But my one job that has something to do with Hollywood entertainment, uh, I had to be put on hold because of the strike that was still going. And now, even though the department that I'm in is illustration, but see, the company that I work for, they also do video productions. And the
Mm-hmm.
combination of the actors they get for their video productions are a combination of union actors and non-union. It's like what Tyler Perry does. And see, and if our union actors can't work because of the strike, then the show's not making any money. And if the show's not making any money, then no one's getting paid, and it's not just the film crew. I mean, it's the whole company. Like nobody's getting paid, and that's scary. And I don't know, and fortunately, it's going to be that way for a while.
So you touched on something interesting there, the
Mhm.
impact of AI on writing. Like you lightly touched it right there. Do you think these big corporations like Disney would write all their stories in like crap was one ChatGPT or something, and then make somebody like edit it and maybe add emotion to it because we all know AI is not very good at emotion because
Mhm.
it's not us, right? That's a part of us, thankfully. So far, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how.
I'm not entirely sure about that one. I mean, I've only written two stories in my life. Actually, no, I've written three. Two of them have been put out. Well, one has been put out. The other one soon to be put out. But the other one that I did was actually my very first story. It was a children's story called Timothy's Revenge, which I'm still working on. Still working on
Okay.
that one, and I do hope to get that one off the ground at some point.
It's
Uh,
my revenge,
but the thing
Timothy's revenge.
but the thing that I realized while I was writing it is that at the time when I was writing it, it was the bad place and the bad time for it because I didn't have the connections yet for it. But due to the connections that I have been building lately, I won't name names, but
Mm.
I've now reached the point where I've made connections with people that could help get those ideas off the ground and out there. So once
That's awesome.
once Orlando Monster is fully complete, which I'm actually going to be shooting some scenes today after this call, and finishing up Night at North Pole, and that's my next hope to get to is finish Timothy's Revenge where I start. But now on to the last question for folks who are in the process of writing their first book or their first novel and are trying to get it, whether if it's published or self-published, what is the best advice that you would pass on to those future artists?
The best thing I would say is experimentation with promoting your product, because you can make it, you can get it printed, but it's not going to sell unless you do that part as well. You have to focus on the business aspects, the personal relationships you build, like wherever in life. Like I made a friend at the convenience store by my house and they purchased a book. And I just, talk to them when I go in and get a Gatorade or whatever I'll go get from the convenience store. So you have to talk about it and it has to be seen in order to sell it. And you got to make your avenues of sales like easy. So like you don't want to have a lot of pages they have to get to in order to actually purchase your book. You just want to be able to click on it and then add to cart. Boom. Squarespace is pretty good at that. I guess plug for Squarespace. We all know about them. But that's who I use for my website. And it all works pretty well. There's a lot of really cool things they give. But yeah, that's what I would say focus on is talking about it, promoting it. Like, again, if you're not showing it, it's not going to be seen. Which, we've probably heard that all before, but it's real. Let me tell you, it's real. Like I've kind of stopped promoting the book just for a little bit because I'm waiting to actually get more books, and traffic to my website is kind of like slowed down because I've stopped talking about it. So that's how it goes. I think that's all I have to say on that.
Very good. And this is a retro show, and we like to ask something retro related.
All right.
I like your reaction. It's hilarious. And what was your favorite action figure, video game, or board game, or television show, even movie, growing up in the 80s? I mean, just a favorite retro product.
Does it have to be 80s?
It could be anything.
90s?
It could be 80s.
Well, okay. I don't know how old G.I. Joe is, but I remember playing with G.I. Joe stuff as a kid, for sure. The action figures and stuff like that. I vividly remember we would set up whole battles in the living room and we'd have action figures everywhere. And we'd include those little green army men. I'm sure everybody kind of remembers those really tiny things. And we would just have a bunch of big battles with them. And action figures was definitely a lot of my childhood. I liked just hitting stuff together.
Well, Tim, thank you very much for joining today's episode, and happy early Halloween.
Well, yes, happy early Halloween. My kid is going to be Mickey Mouse for Halloween, so that's going to be fun.
Nice.
He's got a little tail and ears and everything, and it's so cute.
Is it like a pajama costume, or is it a?
Yeah, it's like a onesie type of thing. We just gotta throw him in there. It's really weird. There's no zip in the front. We gotta shimmy him in there. That's always hard. Kids don't like putting clothes on.
My dad, when I was that age, my dad made a similar costume. It wasn't Mickey Mouse. It was the Pixar lamp.
Oh, the lamp.
Yeah, it's the Pixar lamp. But he made the head, he made the base, and I just hop like a rabbit.
That's awesome.